All right, welcome to the Krug Show, everybody. After Niner football, Niners get a much-needed win over the Dallas Cowboys, and the Krug Show getting ready to roll right here. Danny's in the house, Kev's here, Frank's here, Rye's here, Damon may show up. We invited my nephew. It's right now, the Krug Show, after Niner football, right now. All right, we get it rolling on the Krug Show after the Niners beat the Cowboys here at Levi's. We're, of course, brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue you're going to find in Northern California. Also, we're brought to you by Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles, 205 Cypress Avenue in Pacific Grove, California. On the Monterey Peninsula, call Anthony Catania at 831-521-5264. And we're also brought to you by Mancini's Sleep World. Mancini's a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. They offer a 120-night guarantee with a range of brands and price points. They give you free next day delivery. I'm a huge fan of Mancini's. I got a great bed. Click the link below or go to sleepworld.com. Find a bed that works for you, whether shopping online or visiting in store. All you got to do is use Krug10, the code Krug10, and you'll get 10% off. That's KRUEG 10, and you'll get 10% off in store or online at sleepworld.com. All right, guys, and don't forget our meet and greets coming up Sunday, November the 3rd during the bye week. That means a week from today, we will be at Corte Madera from 12 until 6 on the bye week Sunday. Thank you very much. And we will be meeting all of our fans and people who want to check out Pig and a Pickle and say hi to me and Kev and watch some football with us. Please stop by. We'll be there Sunday, November the 3rd at 341 Corte Madera Town Center right there in Corte Madera in the mall. Stop by and say hello. All right, let's talk a little bit about this game, guys. 49ers had to have this one. It was a had-to-have-it kind of a game. And I was very nervous before this game started. Why? Because Dallas has the number one special teams unit in the league, and the 49ers have struggled mightily there. But they bottled up Cavante Turpin. They did just enough to slow down the Cowboy run game, held them to 2.9 a carry. Niners ran it 36 times for over 6 yards a pop. Garendo was huge, 6'1" a carry, had over 100 yards all-purpose. Purdy took care of the football. Devondre Campbell played his best game as a Niner. George Kittle had well over 100 yards on National Tight End Day. The Niners didn't turn it over, and they got the win. So, that's really all that matters. It didn't matter if they won by 1 or won by 40. They just needed the W, and they got it today. Let's go around the room, and we'll get everybody's initial takeaway from this. Why don't we start with you, Kev, and we'll go around that way. What do you think? What did you think of the game?
First quick observation was just like the 49ers offense this entire year had looked different from how it looked in the past. A lot of deep balls, a lot of I don't know, just is uncharacteristic of Kyle Shanahan. I thought today was a little bit back to normal. A lot more crossing routes, a lot more yak. We saw a ton of yak from Kittle. I mean, you knew Kittle was going to get one on National Tight End Day, but yeah, the first half was plagued with penalties. They had the holding call called back the touchdown, and they had another critical holding call on a Garendo run that would have put them inside Dallas's 20. And then you go into half, and the offense just looks completely stagnant. But that second half, it was like 3 touchdowns uncontested there from the Cowboys. A little too close for comfort at the end, but a solid win, and you needed this win so badly. You can't understate how badly the Niners needed this win. So it's a great day to be a Niners fan.
Well, we're going to go counterclockwise, and I just moved Danny back up to the top. So Danny, you're last now. Sorry about that. I won't be one of those things when we get to your turn. I won't, switch you back with Frank. We do a round table and we just keep moving Danny around and we just never really go to him.
There we go.
Frank, what'd you think of the win?
Solid win. As you said, it was one that they needed to have. I don't care if they won by half a point. The 49ers needed to win. Yeah. The reality is they're top of first in their division now. And when you look at the 4 teams, they are the best team. What I was struck by was the contribution by all the young players. The 49ers over the past 5+ years during the Shanahan and Lynch tenure is having the ability to draft players that ultimately come to fruition late in the rounds that they're drafted. Malik Mustafa is playing like a first-round pick, an early-round pick. Pearsall, I thought, was fantastic, running routes. I thought he got involved. The offensive tackle they got from Kansas played extremely well. And obviously, you talked about Galindo balling out of control tonight. So I just really like the continuity that they played with. I thought Brock Purdy would come back, but I was watching very closely the contribution by their young players who needed to step up tonight. They did a great job.
What do you think, Rye?
This was the most nervous I've been. Not so much pregame, but like during the game, as the game was getting started, for Niners Cowboys game. I've had just kind of like, blind confidence that Kyle's has complete ownage of the Cowboys and that the Cowboys are just never ultimately a tough team and you can kind of just run the ball and impose your will. But I felt like the game was completely on tilt about midway through the first half when Dallas ended up going ahead, I think 4 points after their touchdown. It felt like, to me, like whatever team got margin first, like got a good sizable lead, 7-10, that team was going to win. Because Dallas, I mean, if you look at Dallas even last year when they were better, when they were, blowing teams out, it was all these early second half or early first half leads, and then they were able to run the ball, and that's when their defense was able to get takeaways and whatnot. I think, the Niners are definitely better than Dallas, but they are similar this year where I don't really trust the Niners. If they fall behind 7 points, 10 points, that's kind of it. So the Niners, it was huge. They won that middle 8 where they were able to kick a field goal and then go into half and then come right out of half and drive down the field and score. And that was a quick 10-point swing. And then from there, the Niners seemed like they were kind of rolling. I also felt like the Niners teams, just their general team speed it's just not there, especially when you look around the league and you compare them to the past. I mean, Debo, if he gets in space, he still is great, but he doesn't have that same burst he used to. I really honestly seeing Garendo was a big reminder of what this offense kind of used to look like. And I think one of the really underrated factors, because Jordan Mason, whenever he was in last year, looked so good. And then in the first couple games this year looked so great. It's been overlooked that he has not been playing well the past couple weeks. Even with the banged up shoulder, he had one nice run versus Seattle. But he really hasn't been playing that well. He hasn't been very explosive. He used to have unreal contact balance. He started to go down the second he's touched. So I think just getting Garendo in there was huge. And yeah, I don't think you feel really ultimately that great about this if you're the Niners, but it's kind of the perfect win going into a bye week because they started to blow it there towards the end. Kyle Shanahan can still just be on their asses the entire time. You're not going to have the guys, talking anything crazy.
What'd you think, Danny? Good win for the Niners, but what'd you think of it?
Yeah, well, you saved the best for last. I'm right under the better logo there. I like that. No. Hey, it was a win, tough win, but you win. I mean, you take these wins in the NFL because they're not easy to come by. We saw Baltimore go down to Cleveland and take an L today. So anything can happen on any given Sunday. I know that's kind of a cliche, but it's true. So you take the win. I thought the third quarter was their best played quarter all season long. And then they kind of went back and gave it up in the fourth and almost kind of choked the lead. But I didn't feel like they were in danger of losing the game. Even when it got to within 6, I felt like if they could just because Dallas had used all their timeouts, I thought if they can just get a first down or two, they'll put it away. And I was glad to see Kyle not just give 3 runs and try, and try and run out the clock. He actually called some good plays to get the first. I'll say this team is not, I don't think it's the team right now that it's going to be in 3 or 4 weeks. I think the next 2 weeks they could get well. They could go to Tampa and beat Tampa, come home, beat Seattle, and then they're 6-4. And I think guys will start to get a little bit better. Pearsall will get a little bit used to the offense more. Hopefully CMC's he's going to be the key to the season. If he's not 100%, they're going nowhere. If he's 100%, it changes everything.
And who knows if he'll make it back at all. They're going to ramp him up after the bye week, and we'll see if CMC is going to contribute. Same with Greenlaw. We don't really know about Greenlaw. We don't really know exactly what Hufanga is going to give this team. We also don't know if John Lynch is going to be able to, acquire anybody at the trade deadline. So I believe the deadline is a week from Tuesday?
November 7th,
right?
I believe. I think it's November 7th.
I think it's the 5th.
It's
I think it
the
might be
5th?
the 5th.
Okay.
Which is when? Does that mean that will that be before the Niners next game, or when do the Niners play Tampa? What's the date of that?
November 9th or 10th.
Yeah, so this is the last game for the Niners before
10th.
the
10th.
trade deadline. Based on what you've seen of the first half, based on what you saw today, if you could add one piece to this puzzle, what are you adding?
I'm going defense. I think they need to shore up the defensive line. They need to somebody that can be more of a run stuffer. I think they should get two guys. Go out, somebody like I just escaped his name all of a sudden. The edge rusher for the Bengals, Hendrickson. He's probably available. They're going nowhere. I mean, their season's just about over. And
they still have enough hope. I mean, they've done it. They've done it before with Burrow.
Yeah, but I still think you can go find an edge rusher and a run stuffer, and I think the offense will be fine. I wouldn't go out and try and worry about getting a receiver. I think Pearsall and Cowing can get more into the offense as time goes along. And I think Pearsall is, he made some good plays tonight, good catches. He got the jet sweep for 39 yards. Wait till Pearsall around week 14. This is week, 8 right now? By the time he's going to be pretty much into the offense 6-8 weeks from now, and I think he could be a real contributor. I wouldn't go out and get a receiver that's not going to be that much greater than, is Deontay Johnson going to be that much better for 8-9 games? Learning an offense over Pearsall? Is it that much?
I mean, rookie receivers often struggle. I look at it this way. I think, the Niners need a very specific thing. Like to me, if you said, what's an ideal trade for them? An ideal trade for them would be like a 3rd round draft choice, which they have 2 of in next year's draft, to the New York Giants for like Azeez Ojulari and Darius Slayton. If you could get that, why? Because Slayton's a big-bodied receiver that ran 4.39 coming out. He's having a pretty good year. He's not, they have Malik Neighbors and other guys, Wandale, and they got younger guys. They don't care about moving him. And yet he's playing his best football. He's got pretty good size. He's got vertical speed, so he could kind of run some of those same routes that Ayuk runs. And then Azeez Ojulari, I just think that they could really use one more edge rusher. I mean, you look at all those young DBs they have with Renardo Green and Malik Mustafa, and you're not going to be able to – you don't want to deny those guys development, right? So those guys are going to get time. So how do you protect your young DBs? I think if you could get one more edge rusher – and to me, like if you a 3rd round pick, if you could get Ojulari and Slayton, you get a vertical, big vertical threat receiver who you could plug in, and he's not such a big name that you have to like kowtow to him and cater everything to him. He can just be a complimentary piece. And then Ojulari, I think, could start opposite Bosa, and you could bring Leonard Floyd in certain pass rush situations. I don't know. I mean, that's what I would want to add. One receiver with speed, one defensive end to try to, help out those young DBs. If I could make that kind of a trade, and it doesn't have to be with them. I could take Christian Kirk and Trayvon Walker from Jacksonville if you prefer to go that direction. But to me, defensive end and one kind of receiver that can run some of the deep routes, I think would help. I mean, you could argue they could use a linebacker and they could use this and that. Some of these guys you might be able to pick off the street, or, you don't have to make it necessarily a trade for all these guys. But to me, if you could make one deal that could bring you one defensive edge rusher and one receiver with some speed, I think that's what I'd be looking for. And what do you guys have a thought on what you might be looking for, or what you think they need to get over the top? Because they don't look great right now, but when you think about the NFC, can the 49ers beat Detroit in Detroit? I think they can. Can 49ers beat Minnesota in Minnesota? I mean, they didn't this year, but I think they can. I don't think there's any team in that NFC playoff picture that the Niners couldn't roll into their place in December and get a win. That's just the way I see it.
No, what's surprising to me, last year, maybe not now, but late in the year, the 49ers were actually talking to Zach Ertz. And that never happened. And, he was kind of showing the door in Philly. A lot of people thought that his career was over. And he's having a breakout year in Washington.
Yeah.
And I look at George Kittle. Kittle was playing like a top 5, top 7 tight end right now. And I'm saying, okay, so Purdy doesn't have the strongest arm. So, how would like a real speedster work in this offense? Most of the time, the guys run crossing routes and they run away from defenders to score touchdowns. But I would love to see the 49ers with another tight end who could catch the ball.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
Because it would increase the physicality of the team. And I think even tonight, they were more physical than Dallas. And like Rye said, getting back to what they used to be. Time possession, Purdy getting out of the pocket. He made some great throws tonight outside of the pocket to get him out of harm's way and to give him more space. But I would love to see a compliment to George Kittle, because I don't think they have one catching the football.
Speaking of Kittle, Frank, you remember a few years ago before they were actually – it's probably been more than a few years. It's probably back to one of Kittle's first couple of years. But I think he was 270 yards receiving or something, and Kyle didn't realize he was just a few yards away from breaking some receiving record. I think he was going to break Anderson's record from the Rams.
Right.
And Kyle didn't realize it. They used to go to Kittle so much more. This team is so much better when Kittle is the centerpiece of the offense.
He gets hurt, though. So
yeah, I mean, that's the thing,
hurt.
Danny. I mean, like,
he's playing banged up.
Fred Warner referenced when he was at the podium is that, Fred's playing hurt, or that George is playing hurt. And, I asked him, I said, man, how, you've been doing this for, 3 months in a row, virtually every other day. You guys are out there banging heads. How do you feel? And he's like, I feel better than I felt last year. In other words, I don't want to tell you how I'm feeling because I'm not really feeling that good. I mean, it's just kind of the way it is. It's like once you've been playing football every day since July and you get to late October, there's that old saying, everybody's hurt or everybody's hurt. Tell me when you're injured, kind of a thing. And that's kind of the standard that a lot of these guys, these football players carry with them. It's like, they're going to gut it out hurt. They're only going to sit out if they're truly injured. And Kittle's one of those guys, and you can kind of tell. I mean, he's not moving all that great, but I thought today that was the best I've seen him move in a long time. It was National Tight Ends Day, so I'm sure he wanted to shine. But you know what? You take away JJ, and you take away Ayuk, and you take away CMC, and it was like, dude, it's time for Debo and Kittle to gut check time and get out there and do it, no matter how they feel. Right. And I thought both those guys, I tipped my cap to both those guys. I walked into the locker room after this game was over, and Debo was sitting there at his locker, and he looked like he was in a ton of pain. And he was, getting help getting out of his pads and
rib.
Yeah, he's got rib pain now. Mm-hmm. So I mean, it sounds like it's on the left side. I don't know if it's cracked or broken or what the deal is, but I mean, he's in a lot of pain. So these guys need to roll themselves into the cold tub for a few days, take a few days off. I'll tell you why I love this win tonight. The hardest thing to do in pro sports is to do what you're freaking supposed to do. And the Niners were supposed to come in here and beat this Cowboy team, but the Cowboys had 7 extra days of rest. They were coming off on a humiliating loss to the Detroit Lions. So you knew Dallas was whatever Dallas had, no Micah, no Lawrence, no Bland, whatever they could fire, they were going to fire tonight. And they did.
Mm-hmm.
They played a pretty good game for them. That for them, that's a decent effort running the ball. I mean, they circled the wagons for this one and had the Niners down at halftime, and the Niners came back in the second half, touchdown. A mix in the middle there, a Diamador Lenore interception, which probably was the defensive play of the game. And the Niners kind of pulled away. But it's amazing if you really think about it. Much of the night, the Cowboys looked like the better team, except the Niners had that 3 touchdown spurt in the third quarter that just kind of kicked them out front and gave them a lead. But you could make an argument that Dallas outplayed them in the first half and that Dallas outplayed them in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, Dallas did some dumb stuff, but the Niners definitely did get a little bit lucky. I mean, when you think about it, especially how close the game ended up being, they're relying on a dude in Carlson, who like all my Green Bay buddies, they just absolutely hate this guy's guts. Like he just was missed every high leverage kick possible. And the guy is just nails today from like large distance. And the thing is, if he misses any of those kicks, Dallas all of a sudden is 10 yards away from being in field goal range themselves. I mean, Aubrey's a monster. Also, like they kept kicking to Turpin, and it's like that's the one thing you're supposed to not do is kick to Turpin, and they just got super lucky. Honestly, I mean, they had like 4 special teams penalties on returns.
It was like they were trying to prove, watch our special teams coach. He's got it together.
Yeah,
we're going to kick it to Turpin 4 times, and we're just going to stuff him inside the 30.
No breakdown tonight, though. For the first, I think this is the first week you could confidently say there was nothing special teams related that held the 49ers.
It was almost like
back.
they were working on it. It was almost like they were intentionally working on their special teams play.
I'm happy for Brian Schneider because let's be honest, guys. Right. I mean, you guys know, I'm not telling you anything you don't know. But when you're the special teams coach and there's a major freaking gaffe, you are living in hell, and the next game can't come soon enough. And it's just, these guys, I mean, the way they grind and you've got, your job is just special teams and you're having these massive negative plays week after week after week. I'll say one thing that I liked is that the Niners now are playing fake. When they think it's a fake punt, they're leaving their defense on the field, which good, good. Leave your defense on the field. I'll tell you another thing I thought was a great thing. I was absolutely convinced that Kevontae Turpin was taking one to the house. I mean, I thought for sure he was going to make a house call. And the fact that they got through this game and Turpin did not burn them. I mean, because once I saw that Dallas was, you knew the Niners struggled with verticals all year as well. So you knew that Turpin as their vertical element was going to be used from scrimmage down the field, and he was going to be used on punt returns and kick returns, and he was. And I thought it was probably like 60-40 that he busted a big one, and he didn't. So
they also got pretty lucky that Dowdle didn't play. I mean, Dowdle's not some amazing player, but he's a starting caliber NFL running back. I mean, what are they going to get LaDainian Tomlinson out next week? It's with Ezekiel Elliott and the ghost of Dalvin Cook. I mean,
you know what? I thought when Zeke ran from the eye and he wasn't just like running up somebody's back or something, he had some decent runs tonight, so
he did.
He surprised me. And then Cook, Cook is certainly not what he was, but I thought their running game collectively has been better than it was over the past 2-3 weeks. So, even in their division, I think Philly's going to win that division. But I think Dallas has showed that they can put some things together, especially when they get their guys back. So the 49ers, I think, had that mentality that I don't care who they put out on the field, we got to be ready to play. And I thought they met their intensity, and that was part of the reason why they were able to win the game.
The Lepke draw to start off the game, that was a wild call on the 3rd and 5.
You're right. Yeah,
that was crazy.
You're running a fullback.
What was that?
I mean, that seemed so bizarre. The other question I wanted to ask you guys is, there was an awful lot of, I mean, now granted, it's not a scientific poll or anything like that. It's hardly scientific, but I heard an awful lot of Niner fans who were walking out of the stadium still kind of negative on the team. I mean, there was a lot of negative comments from the fans walking out. I could hear a number of them saying, yeah, we got this win, but we're still not going anywhere, and the Cowboys are shit, and all that. There's a lot of negativity, and it's like I get it. I mean, the standards are high. The team was in the Super Bowl. They're 4-4 at the break. It hasn't been the greatest first half. CMC's yet to play it down. JJ's now hurt. Ayuk's done for the year. They've got some issues. The Chiefs beat them in the Super Bowl and then beat them worse last week. So the morale's at an all-time low. But I mean, Jesus, people, it's hard to get a win in this league. It's hard to get a win, and it's hard to run it back the next year after you play a first place schedule. And then you're paying guys and you're getting older and you played extra games last year. I don't know. To me, I'm not satisfied with where the Niners are here at 4-4, but I'm not as angry as it seems like a lot of rank and file 49er fans are who I heard walking out of the stadium. Where would you put your, I don't know. I guess the question is how much belief do you have in the 2024 49ers going into the bye? They're 4-4. They got smoked by Kansas City, and they came back and they turned, got a nice win over the Cowboys. Very convincing win. The book said run it down their throat. The Niners ran it down their throat. The challenge was don't turn it over. They didn't turn it over. And they beat Dallas and they got the win. They're 500. So I guess, do you look at the Niners as the glass half full? And you know what? They're getting guys back and they're getting healthier and they'll make a trade and they're still got, they're still one of the NFC powers and you expect a big second half, or are you in the glass half's empty and this team's not they're in decline. They're a shadow of what they were. They're kidding themselves if they think they're a Super Bowl contender. What's closer to where you're at? Let's go around the room. Kev, we'll start with you. Somebody said you've been sleeping, so we'll wake you up here in the top. Wake up.
If people really are, I don't know, complaining after this win, I think a lot of that like anger or just not belief in the 49ers is really misguided. I thought the Niners played really well today. Like even that first half where they didn't really score. They had a lot of good plays, some of them getting called back. The only concerns I could see like taking from this game is you did see another comeback, like another late game defensive kind of breakdown where you're allowing the Cowboys to score touchdowns on back-to-back drives and basically come right back in this game. And that's been something that has happened and you've lost because of it. But
they're not finishing. You're saying they're not
finishing, right? But going into the bye week, it really is like, I don't care if they won this game by 1 point. You just got to win this game. You got to move forward. You got to win the game in front of you. And it doesn't matter how they won this game. And I particularly thought they played well. So you got the win, you move forward. And I think with CMC coming back, that's a huge thing for the Niners. Especially with Jordan Mason. The one thing about Jordan Mason is he hasn't looked, he's kind of regressed. Like he's not
playing with an AC joint sprain. So you got to remember that too.
Yeah, he doesn't have the same pop yet earlier in the year. So that is one concern.
Which makes total sense. I mean, the guy's never, even in college, he never really had a run this long as just the workhorse starter.
Isn't it interesting? They have a couple different backs. They're both kind of imperfect, but they're different, right? Like, so Mason is a terrible short yardage back. I mean, let's just call it for what it is. I mean, this guy dances in the hole. He does not hit the hole hard. He doesn't take advantage of the fact that he's 240, 245, but he's got unbelievable feet and he's got an ability to bust some big runs. He's really nice to watch. And then he's got like kind of a small man's game and a big man's body. And then you got Guerrero, who's got, just unbelievable acceleration. And yet he doesn't really have any feel or any ability to pick and slide and find a hole. And You know, it's
It was
funny,
much
some of the-
better, much improved today, though.
He did. And you know, Shanahan made a great point. He said, this guy, you're talking about Garendo, he says he gets better every carry. He learns from every carry. So if all of a sudden he takes one run too wide, you know, he's very conscientious, hardworking guy who takes note of it and is better the next time around. One of the things that I've noticed is that he put the ball on the carpet a couple times. And believe me, in the NFL, you fumble, everybody notices. And it's like it's I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of like in the NBA when you have a guy that can't play D and you put him into a game and everybody just, well, I'm taking this guy down to the low block. You know, you're going to put Jimmer Fredette on me. Well, guess what? I'm going down to the low block, and 5 sequences later, this guy's sitting back next to the 9th assistant coach, right, on the bench. And it's kind of the same thing. It's like, you know, it's like, are you going to, you know, give a guy like Garendo, are you going to give him the carries that he needs to kind of even out the rough spots? I've heard some people suggest that they think that Garendo might be a better running back option than JP Mason. He clearly doesn't have the natural ability of a running back, but what he does have is unbelievable acceleration. And if you can spring him past the line of scrimmage, and a couple of those formations they had, it was like Cowboys had like no second line of defense. It was like everybody was up on the line. Well, guess what? If you have 7 defenders up on the line of scrimmage and you can pop Garendo through the line and get him on that second level, guys are going to take bad angles because he's 220, 225, and he runs low 4.3s. And guys in the secondary, he's just going to run over those guys. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not really sure. I mean, I was very negative on Garendo's natural running ability because he, you know, it's like looking at a basketball player that can't dribble or something. It's like, oh, okay, wait a second, this guy can't dribble. You know, wait a second. You know, like when you see a running back that can't find the hole and doesn't pick and slide, doesn't have vision. You're like, okay, so he's just kind of an athlete. He's not really a running back, but he's getting better. He's not fumbling. He's got 2 hands on that ball, and he's just got it locked up like Larry Zonka now. He refused. I mean, he almost dropped the halfback toss, but he's so.
Your mic cut out. Your mic's muted. Well.
Larry.
Just let him go for 10 minutes. You're muted.
His earbuds might not be going anywhere. Anyway, I wanted to bring this up at some point. How about Collinsworth just with the like absolute dig at Pearsall? Did you guys catch that?
What did he say?
He's like, oh yeah, look at Ricky Pearsall. You know, this is a guy. He's not the fastest player in the world. You know, he's not that fast. You know, he's not the greatest receiver. He's good. He's good. But you know what? He's here, and we're just happy that he's playing. And it's just like, what is that? This guy is a first-round draft pick.
I thought that was a little odd because he's got deceptive speed. What is he? Isn't he like a 4.49 or 4 something like that?
I have no idea.
I mean, he's a first-round pick. He probably is. You know.
Yeah, they're using him in punt.
He looked good.
Yeah.
He looked. I liked what I saw from him.
I did too. I thought I think Ricky Pearsall is going to get better and better because he's the type of guy that will just work his craft. He's the kind of guy that you have to stop him from overworking.
Saying kind of like a coach's son type, like very gritty. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, he just goes out. I mean, they've
like
said
a Wes Welker or like a Julian Edelman or
I think it was Herm Edwards who had him at Arizona State when he was there. I think he said you've got to basically tell him to stop because he won't quit working, you know, and that's why he probably came into camp a little injured with his hamstring or whatever he had because he probably just keeps going and going. So I think Pearsall's going to be fine. But
I was surprised they played him as much as they did, to be honest. Like the way they've been kind of operating with like cowing really hasn't got. They need to.
They're thin. I mean, they lost Ayuk. There's no Jennings. You have Debo, who's
and Debo was out, and then Debo went out after as well. So they were down again. Their top 3 receivers for a while. So
I don't want to hate on Debo by any means, but he's definitely lost some juice. Like some of those, I don't know, some of those end arounds, he got a few yards, but in prime Debo would have broken through.
he did look pretty good though on that reception that went to the house but got called back. He was moving.
Yeah,
tight.
He was tightrope on the sideline.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry, audio issue there. What were you guys talking about? Like, what did I miss?
Pearsall.
Talking a little Pearsall.
Yeah, what are you guys saying about him so far? I mean, he to me, he looked okay, but I kind of expect him to do more than he's done.
I think he catches. I mean, like I listened to some of the reports. He had some drops during preseason, right? I mean, during the training camp, his hands appears to be pretty good. And if he's open and he catches the ball, I think that's a positive. I mean, he's not crazy fast, but he appears to run decent routes. When I look at wide receivers, I'm always focused on whether or not they catch the ball, because there's so many times in which they're wide open when they don't catch the ball, and you're like, why didn't you catch the ball? Or, I mean, are you doing the little things? Like part of Dak's 9 interceptions, I don't think that CeeDee Lamb fights for the ball. He's not even looking. So as long as Pearsall, at this stage of his career, based on what he's gone through, based on the fact that he's a rookie, if he just does the fundamental things that he needs to do, I think that's a plus, because they're down right now. And he's appeared to do those things over the past couple of weeks.
And he'll
I think Pearsall is going to be a good player. I really do. I think he's going to learn the offense more and more each week. I think he's going to be probably, when Jennings comes back, he'll be the third option. It'll be Debo and Jennings. But I think Pearsall's going to be a guy that Brock learns to connect with on third downs, because I think he's going to be open and he's got sure hands. And I think that's why they drafted him. I think they drafted him because they needed a possession type receiver that can get you the first down, may not get you the big, play over the top, but he's going to be that guy that gets you the 10, 12 yards over the middle, or 6 or 8, whatever's needed to pick up the first downs.
He might have been Lane McConkey. The guy who's on the Rams now, who played Georgia.
Chargers.
By the way, McConkey didn't have a very good game last, I think, Monday night, but he was great today.
Very similar players
today.
Takes the rookie receivers a bit, and I think after the bye will be huge for him.
Good player.
Yeah, that's what I agree. I think
he's a good route runner. He's pretty quick. Okay, so here we are. It's week 8. And so the season's roughly halfway done. Today was an interesting day around the NFL. What did you guys think? Outside of the Niner game, what was your takeaway today around the NFL? Ravens lost to the Browns in Cleveland. Lions put up 52 in Detroit on Tennessee. That was incredible. Dolphins came back in the second half and Cardinals came back in the second half and beat the Dolphins in Miami. That was pretty interesting. Packers needed everything they could possibly muster to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars in Jacksonville. Texans, same thing with the Colts. I'll tell you one thing that stands out to me is that the Chargers defense is really, really good. They only give up 8 points. I think they're only giving up 12 points a game. I know they lost the other day, but the Chargers defense really came to play today. What stood out to you today? A lot of people thought the Chiefs were going to stumble with the Raiders, but they actually beat the Raiders in Vegas.
I mean, another week, another back-breaking Mahomes interception that just seemingly doesn't matter.
All 8 weeks he's given up a pick.
Yeah, he threw one on. I think they were on their own 1 yard line, and he threw one, and it didn't matter because Spags.
And then
they couldn't score from the half-yard line.
Commanders Bears. I mean, Bears have the Commanders beaten. They're up 15-12 with 20 seconds left on the road against the Commanders. And you're like, whoa, Caleb Williams and the Bears are getting their 5th win of the year. And they're going to get their first road win. And they're going to make the Commanders finally imperfect at home. And Jaden Daniels goes up top for a huge score to Noah Brown, 18-15 Commanders. Commanders 6-2 overall, 4-0 at home. Looks like it's their year.
Oh, watching the highlights, I don't remember his name, but I think his number was 29 on the Bears. Don't want to be that guy in the film session. He's walking.
Tyreek Stevenson.
Oh yeah, did you see it, Larry?
Oh my God!
He's
Did you guys see this, Frank? Did you see this?
This is hilarious.
I heard everybody talking about it, but I didn't see it. I know he was talking.
So the guy walks over to the corner of the stands. He's like talking trash to the fans on the last play.
Wow.
Yeah,
and
then
wasn't over.
He's the guy, and then
that guy
gets back to the.
That's like that commercial. You want to get away?
Right.
Yeah,
like
exactly. And then he gets back near the goal line, and he's in the play, and he sees, okay, it's coming deep, and he runs over, and he's the guy that jumped and tipped the ball. He probably was supposed to be the guy behind the play, boxing out the receiver for Washington. And Eberflus says, we practice that play 100 times a week. We practice that play. There's supposed to be somebody behind the play to box out the receiver who's standing behind the pile. And he probably was that guy because
that was horrible.
It was.
You know what? It felt right though. It felt right because Caleb Williams was ass all day. And
are you going to show it here? We're going to see this.
This was Tyreek Stevenson's tweet. He said, to all my Chicago teammates, my apologies for my lack of awareness and focus. The game ain't over until zeros hit the clock. Can't take anything for granted. Notes taken. Improvement will happen. Bear down.
Oh,
and
wow.
of course, the comments were completely normal.
And I'm going to give my check back this week.
Let me see. Yeah,
that part's not there.
Are we able to see it without sound or?
Yeah, let's see if I can.
Can you play it, Kev?
There he is.
Like the play is starting, and
now
he's
watch him
talking shit to the crowd.
Watch him go over, and he's the guy that tips the ball.
The play started, and he's right here.
Oh my gosh,
the jackass!
He's facing the wrong way.
Look at the guys running.
Oh my god! Wow.
Are we going to see the ball?
Watch him. He runs over. He jumps right there. That's him. He tipped it.
Oh my gosh.
The play had already started.
That is awesome.
Wow.
That is awesome.
Comes down to one last play. And it's going to be getting longer by the second. You're all the way back at the 30-yard line. Now you can step into it. Here comes the Hail Mary with the game on the line. And the ball's caught! It's a miracle! It's celebrating!
Unbelievable. And by the way, Tyreek Stevenson is one of the best young DBs in the game. He's terrific. He's a great young player. Oh, what a killer. What a killer. Let's hit some of the supers
I've seen the Aaron Rodgers clips before of him throwing the Hail Marys, but I don't think I've really ever seen one live. Like I was just like, what? I was losing my mind. I couldn't believe
that.
That
is wild. By the way, everybody hit like and subscribe. If you hit like, and that just jogs the algorithm and helps more people find the stream as we are here at 11:15 on the 27th of October. If you hit subscribe and click that notification bell every time I go live, you don't have to miss a minute of our live streams. And Bill M's in the house. He says, oh my God, look at all these mugs. He's probably talking about you guys. He says, CG Host 73 is a brand new member. So we always give our brand new members a little clap. There you go. A little golf clap. We've got Oscar Zamora in the house. What's going on, Oscar? He says, hey, Larry, donation for some cordless earbuds. Kev, they want cordless. They want the cordless earbuds.
Can you handle the cordless earbuds? That's the question.
I know. I mean, seriously.
I think
I'm
you
not
should,
sure if I'm ready.
Larry, I think you should do the Chase Senior thing with the headphones with the mic in the front.
The wraparound, the air traffic controller. set up. Hello, mission control. Hello, mission control. Anthony M says, "Who are we? We thought we are who we thought they were. We are who we thought they were, and they let us off the hook." Get the reference? Yeah, Dennis Green.
Shut up.
They are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
That was
Bears
funny.
are who we thought.
I will say this: the one constant in every single Cowboys Niners matchup in the last 4 years is Dak Prescott just doing what Dak Prescott does and just, I mean, shit in the bed. I
Turns
mean,
it
he had
over.
2 touchdowns in garbage time, but he's
always
never won a
garbage
big
time
game in his
stats.
entire career. Tell me the big game that guy's won, and he was second in MVP voting last year.
And but by the
Crazy.
way, I mean, how many rankings do we have to see where jackasses put Dak Prescott over Brock Purdy when they've played 3 times and Brock keeps beating him and Dak keeps turning it over? I mean, what did Dak have for picks tonight? 1?
Two.
He had
picks.
2 picks. So that means he's got 8 picks in his last 3 games against the Niners. 8.
And two bad or one really bad pick. Like the pick to Lenore, he just lofted that thing up there.
Completely telegraphed it, and you could just see he's just locked on CD Lamb.
Andre Hanna says, "Where is the Debo jet sweep that Kyle used to use? Where's Debo's ability to run? Doesn't it seem like every time Debo runs, he's running east and west and not north and south? He never turns the corner.
Right.
He's always east and west. It's like, I think Debo's kind of jumped the shark as a runner. I mean, he's just done as a runner. He looks, I mean, they almost hit him on a tunnel screen. He had the one big play that went for a touchdown. They got called back because of the Sauerbert holding call, but he doesn't have the same, he's only broken 2 tackles all year coming into today. He doesn't look the same as a runner to me. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't look like this. He doesn't look as dynamic as he used to look.
I agree.
Daddy Viper throws a super sticker, $1.99 super sticker. Thank you, Daddy Viper. I'm not even sure what the super sticker is, but what the hell? Crazy Bubba Chicken says Bosa with the Make America Great Again was funny. Okay, so Bosa, I didn't see this, but this was in the post game while Purdy was talking, and he ran out there with his Trump made me a MAGA hat with gold writing. Is that what he had? He had a MAGA gold hat. Is that what he had?
I think so.
Well, here, I mean, people are losing their mind. It's funny. Some of the media people in the press room were losing their mind over this.
Seriously?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like, oh man, they've got real problems. I'm like, why? What happened? They're like, oh, did you see Bosa? I'm like, I mean, because he's, whatever. I mean, nobody cares. I'm one thing that if you know me and you've watched my channel for the last 3 years, this channel is 100% apolitical, right? We do not talk politics. I don't care what your politics are. I don't care what my politics are. I don't care what my guest politics are. And I sure as hell don't care about what Nick Bosa's politics are. And why should anybody care? Millions and millions of people are going to vote for both candidates. Get over it. Get over it. So that's all I would say. I know in the Bay Area that, people are like, oh, I don't know if I like Nick Bosa. Okay, fine. He's got a political point of view. There you go. You may not agree with it. I may not agree with it. Anybody, whatever. But it's like, you know what? I don't make my channel a political channel on purpose. And I really don't care. I mean, I really don't care. If the guy wants to vote for Trump, God bless him. If he wants to vote for Kamala Harris, God bless him.
It's
So
really
wait,
crazy.
we're not going to do a post game after the election?
It is
We're
actually
not.
the NFL trade deadline day.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? It's like I don't.
It really is crazy.
It's like we always get mad at people for not having a voice, and then when somebody rises up and has a voice, but for whatever reason you don't like what he's voicing, all of a sudden it's like, well, I wish they would just shut up and stay in their lane and blah blah blah. It's like, no. If you if either you want to hear that stuff or you don't. You either want people to think for themselves or you don't. You either want people engaged in the political process or you don't. And to me, that's that.
What's crazy?
I look at it
Larry?
as a positive. At least you know what.
He
I
put
don't.
a
I mean,
hat
whether
on.
you like his candidate or not, he's engaged. He's engaged, and he's passionate about it. Whatever. I mean, I don't think the Niners have a PR problem. I think it's just one guy saying, "Hey, I'm voting for Donald Trump. I'm passionate about it, and I'm going to tell everybody about it." God, whatever. If that's how he feels, whatever. To each their own.
That's all he did is show a hat and then he ran off. But go listen to Greg Papa. He went off for 13 minutes in a press conference
about that.
He just ripped Trump for 13 minutes. He went on and it was
tonight.
Last night or the night before. It's on Twitter. He just went on for 13-minute rampage.
To each their own, I guess. Right?
Exactly, but
yeah, I mean that's he's entitled to his opinion. If he's got 13 minutes of content, he wants to devote it to that, then God bless him. Let him do it. I'm not exercised by it either way. I'm not going to sit there and pretend like it's the world's worst thing, and I'm not going to sit there and pretend like it's he's some god or some he's an incredible spokesman, whatever. He's got his opinion. He's got his opinion. He shared.
Get away from it. Get away from the politics.
I don't know that I would want. I mean, like, if you are a public figure and you want to, have fans on both sides of the aisle, I would probably suggest to those people that you temper your political message a little bit. But you know what? I'm not even that. Who am I to tell anybody anything, right? I just don't look at myself that way. I just look at it like, hey, I did find it interesting. He was asked about it in the post game, and he said, why are you outspoken about it now when you weren't outspoken about it before? And he said the climate's changed. So obviously he feels that
he's a climate change activist.
Yeah,
that's what you're saying.
That's what it is.
What's that?
He's a climate change activist.
Yeah, he's a climate change activist. Exactly. There you go. I couldn't have said it better myself. Lawless Light says the irony of what we always wanted for Kyle to finally have to depend on rookies. Hopes he learns something if it works out. By the way, that's another one of these people that are just like Kyle Shanahan will never play rookies. He started Dominic Pooney all year at right guard. Mm-hmm. He's playing rookies left and right.
Wait, Super Chat comes in. I feel like this is an important distinction. Then we can get off it. It was not Greg Papa. It was Greg Popovich.
Yeah, I was going to say. Who said that? Who said that?
I said Popovich, didn't I?
No, you said
Greg Papa. You say Greg.
So I thought.
It doesn't sound like Papa. Yeah,
I meant Popovich.
That doesn't sound right.
No, not Greg Papa. No, Greg Popovich. I said it was a 13-minute press conference after the first game.
I took it at face value.
So when does Greg Papa talk on press conferences?
No, it was Popovich. I maybe I did say Papa. I meant Greg Pops.
Whatever. You got it wrong. Yeah. Dan Coach over there got it wrong. All right. Popovich, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Let's see. We got this one from DeBig25. He says, Larry, heard you mention Kirk's name. He's out for the season with a broken collarbone. Kirk? Who's Kirk?
Christian Kirk got hurt today. He's done.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah, he's done.
I didn't hear that. I didn't know that. Yeah, I mentioned Kirk's name. I didn't realize he got hurt. Thank you for that, DeBig. Yeah, he also probably didn't make sense from a standpoint of, I think he's got a big cap number. But he does have vertical ability.
Deontay Johnson's trade value just went up. Panthers.
What?
Panthers can get he's probably the best receiver on the market available.
Yeah,
now.
There's a bunch of them out there, supposedly. Thomas Messina says, can we trade for Chad Ryland just to get him away from Arizona? Talk about clutch. That's the Maryland kicker. Who got cut by New England, right?
Yeah, funny thing is
drafted him in the third round.
He's literally the reason why they got Drake May is because he missed such a heinous kick to lose some game last year.
He was a good kicker at Maryland. Lawless Light says, fought with my bro about this every game for Brock is a contract game. No more BS. We need wins and finished games. We fought with my bro about this. Every game for Brock is a contract game. No more BS. We need wins and finish games. Well, he played well. I mean, come on, guys. I mean, first of all, guys have bad days. Okay. I think I'm a pretty good host. I've had some bad shows. You know, Frank, you teach, right? You probably had some bad classes. You know, I mean, Kev, you know, we've all had bad days, right? We've all had bad days. It's not about, do you have a bad day? You will have a bad day. It's Joe Montana had a bad day. Tom Brady had a bad day. I was just watching the other night. They had the 81 NFC Championship game on. Like, it was like early fourth quarter. And that is the 49ers' fifth turnover today.
And Joe had 3 picks.
Yeah. They had 5 turnovers in the NFC Championship game in 1981. So I'm just saying, guys have bad games. It's about, do you bounce back? Can you bounce back? And I thought tonight was a great bounce back. You took care of the ball.
Digital Drew says he's had bad years.
You know what?
Digital Drew said, I've had bad years.
There was, just so you guys know, there was like some Purdy contract, does he deserve it talk at halftime on Twitter.
You know what?
Oh, stop. Just stop. I mean, he definitely deserves a now you can, I mean, I get it. You know, the way contracts work in the NFL, whoever got paid the latest, you know, whoever just gets the newest deal always seems like they get the most money. But I mean, Brock Purdy's going to get paid a lot, whether it's 40 million, 45 million, 50 million, 55 million, 60 million. He's going to get paid a lot. So
whatever the max is, he's probably getting
just
paid.
That's just the way it is.
I wanted to say this about Kyle too, because he takes a lot of, you know, he's been taking a lot of hits in the media, and a lot of us have been hard on him at times. And I'll say
specifically,
a little bit, not too much, but a little bit more than usual. But I'll say this: at halftime, they interviewed him when he was walking off the field, and they said, "What do you got to do in the second half?" And he says, "Well, we got to cut down on penalties. We turned the ball over with, on penalties. We lost big plays." And then he said, "We're going to take the ball second half and we're going to come down and score." And
he said
the way he did, he said, "We're going to come down and score." And I like the way he said that, because
I like that too.
You could tell he was like frustrated. And he said that in the playoffs last year. I remember we're going to against, I think it was when they were down by Detroit, come down, score. Seems like Kyle was able to make some adjustments tonight. Also, couple plays, I heard Purdy yell, can. He was killing the play, and there was taking a lot of talk this past week about the ability to audible. I don't know if it wasn't a full audible, I don't think, but he killed the play and went to whatever their backup was. So I thought all in all, it was a good night. And I thought Kyle actually did a pretty good job tonight. I thought Brock played really well. 69% completions, 260 yards. And how many yards did he have rushing? Like 58 or something like that? Or?
He had more than Zeke, I think.
Yeah, his rushing was great. I will say, I thought he did not play that well in the first half. He missed that throw over the middle to Debo was well behind Debo. I know some people were saying that
would have been a first down.
He struggled in the first half, I thought.
He was struggling, and it was scary, I think, to a lot of people watching, because it really felt like the game was hanging in the balance. Like, Dallas was up 4. But then to what you were saying about Shanahan, I mean, that's when they're rolling, that's what they do. They always make sure to defer. Luckily, the Cowboys wanted the ball today, so that just worked out.
That was crazy.
And they like to milk the clock down at the end, either kick a field goal or score a touchdown, and then come out in the second half. They've got their scripted plays, come down, score again, and then it's a 10-point swing, 14-point swing. They were able to do that again today.
I really do think Kyle deserves credit for this game. Like, I wouldn't be saying this if there wasn't so much, hate for Kyle last week. I mean, God, there was so much, everyone was just piling on Kyle last week. You got to if you look at the Niners roster right now, they obviously have good players, but I mean, they're playing without a lot of guys. I mean, Kittle, Debo, you got a rookie wide receiver in Pearsall. You had Mason out for most of the game. it's hardly like the Avengers anymore. You know, he's pretty much playing with a normal good team's roster on offense. And you put up 30 on the Cowboys, and you probably could have scored more.
Yeah, and if you look around the league, it's like, CJ Stroud, who we all just think is so amazing. And I do think CJ Stroud's a great player, but it's like you take Nico Collins out of that offense, he turns into a completely normal quarterback.
Yeah,
if you take Joe Main Man Mixon out of that offense, even if they have Nico Collins, completely different offense. Baker Mayfield without his guys, without Godwin, without McEvans. You can keep going down the list.
Look at Mahomes.
Look at Stafford. Look at Stafford balling the hell out on Thursday now that he's got his guys back. And before that, he was like 2 touchdowns, 4 picks or something.
Look at Miami. Look at Miami without Tua. I mean,
this drives me nuts because the whole media is like talks about Brock. He's not as good without his stars, and Colin Cowherd makes a big show about that. He's what does he call him? A something kid or whatever. He's a
system quarterback or something.
No, he says
he's a trust fund
kid. That's it. What quarterback without his top weapons is going to be that successful? Look at Mahomes. They don't have very good receivers this year, and Mahomes is having. If you just looked at stats, if you looked at stats and didn't look at Mahomes, what their record was, you would think that Mahomes is just a mid-level quarterback.
He's playing like prime Blake Bortles with worse fantasy production.
All the conjecture about this team has been around. Oh, the weapons they have. Look at the weapons they had out tonight. Where does that rank in the NFL? That doesn't rank. It doesn't rank that high. You have a 4th round running back and a rookie wide receiver, and then an older Deebo Samuel and an older George Kittle, and that's your offense. Those are your offensive weapons, and I'm supposed to believe that Brock Purdy has just become this quarterback because of weapons, and Kyle Shanahan's just benefiting from all these super teams. I mean, they're good players. Don't get me wrong, but they're not.
Here's part of it,
superstars.
Though. Here's part of it, though. The 49ers play to their standard. They're not playing against opponents. They set a standard, and the expectation is whoever wears a uniform, and you can go, that's bullshit. But it does create a mindset that when you step on the field, I have to perform. So when I see young players or players who haven't had that much experience performing, I'm really not that surprised because they're at practice every day. So I think Shanahan was more annoyed with his team to be 4-4 because if you look at two of their losses, they can very easily be 6-2, even with their injuries. So Ricky Pearsall was a 1st-round draft pick. You expect all of these guys to perform. And so, Dallas doesn't have their full complement of players. And across the NFL, if you put a uniform on, like I grew up watching Belichick and Parcells and all these great coaches perform. So I'm not surprised that these guys are playing well. I expect them to play well. I do.
By the way, Grant tweeted out, he says, Kyle Shanahan just walked over to Brock Purdy at his locker, hugged him, talked to him for a couple minutes, hugged him again, turned to me and said, Grant, was that good?
Grant's kind of funny, man. He's a funny little dude.
That is funny.
Did you see what happened between him and Travarius Ward?
No. What happened?
He tweeted out, "Oh, the 49ers have just benched Travarius Ward," and then Ward responded and was like, "Shut the fuck up," or something like that.
Nice.
I mean, you know what? When Grant kind of does this thing, he's like the White House press guy.
Peter Dosey, whatever.
Juicy.
All of them. They're like the White House is behind you. The camera's right here. This is like, I'm going to say the most important thing of the day. He's funny, man. He makes me laugh.
Thomas Messina says Garendo slides more than Ricky Henderson.
Smart move tonight.
Was it on purpose?
It was very smart that he did that.
He says, in your opinion, does Kyle play to win or not to lose close games? Kyle plays to win. Come on. He plays to win. I understand what you're talking about in that a lot of times he gets kind of caught in between on like at the end of the first half. Like, do you score? Do you leave him too much time left? To me, he's serving too many masters at the end of the first half when he's trying to score with as little time as possible. Just score. Don't worry about, does your defense have to play defense for 40 seconds, 90 seconds, or 2 minutes and 10 seconds? It's like, just score. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like he overthinks it going into the locker room at halftime, but no, he's playing to win. Though I do understand the frustration with all the the big leads that he's blown. Bill M says that's Kyle's MO. Don't play the rooks. Well, you know what? That's not been the MO this year. They've been playing the rooks a lot. I think you're talking more about Kerr. Bill M says it wasn't Greg Papa, it was Greg Popovich. Thank you. Dan Coach Emilio here for the first time.
I thought I said Pops, but I'm
that's
sorry.
all right. That's okay, Dan Coach. Harry Johnson says, yes, Harry Johnson. Run D is terrible. Need DeForest Buckner. Oh, yeah. Like, oh, yeah. Just get Defo. Yeah, just have him.
I don't think their run defense was that bad today.
No, they did a nice job. What did Dallas get? 2.9 a carry? What did Dallas average?
Yeah, 2.9.
Yeah, 2.9 a carry. Bill Carey says, anyone see Diggs say to report on...
Oh, I'll play that. I'll play that.
What's it? Anyone see Diggs say to report on D's post game? Am I missing something there? What did I misread that?
You're missing a little context. Yeah.
This was post game. This was post game from Trayvon Diggs.
Out of that whole play after you took from that, you don't know football. You can't do nothing that I do. You can't go out there and do nothing. Stay in your lane, buddy. Stop playing with me, bro.
Just asking the question, Trayvon. I mean, I'm happy to have you answer the question.
Out of that whole play, that's what you took for that? That's what you got from that? That whole play, that's what you got from that?
I'm asking you. We can talk about it more. What were you doing then?
Talk about these nuts.
He said, talk about these nuts.
Hey, you know what? I don't know that reporter, and I don't know how he went about it, but guys don't like to get questioned, man. Guys don't like to get questioned. And if you question, you better question with a decent, you would better be right.
Mm-hmm.
You better know what you're talking about. Otherwise you're going to come across like a fool, and you can't expect the players to play along. The players will play along with you if they feel like you have credibility as a person and as a reporter. If your credibility is shot because either you have none, or things that you've said in the past, or what you're saying right now makes no sense. I'll say this. I see lots of reporters on game day that ask really silly questions. And the players are really pretty understanding about it. They almost never embarrass the writers or media people at all with bad questions. I asked Nick Bosa today about Sam O, and I meant to say he's helping you as a pass rusher on the all defensive end alignment. And one of the things I said was he's helping you because he's really good against the run. Well, that's part of the reason he's playing defensive tackle in this 4 defensive end alignment, is because he can play the run. He is strong at the point, but they only really use him in obvious pass rushing situations. It's their NASCAR package pass. So I said, hey, how's Sam O looking in that 4 defensive end alignment? And I should have just shut up right there. And instead I said, I know he's strong against the run because he's got great numbers against the run. He's like, well, it's really a pass. It's really that's our pass rush deal. We're going to put an extra defensive end, a defensive tackle to try to get more push on the quarterback. And I understand that. I know that he made that distinction, or that he pointed that out. But like, he also knows that I know what I'm talking about, so he doesn't embarrass me. He doesn't, you know what I mean? So it's like, but if I asked him some super aggressive question and he felt like I didn't have any credibility, maybe they just, sometimes the players get annoyed and they just want to yank your sheets and be like, hey, bro, you don't know shit. You don't know what you're talking about. So anyway, it's just the way it is. Sometimes, and after a tough loss and you're getting questioned, you're just not feeling it. Let's see. We'll get this one from Matthew Rowley. He says, Larry, you said if the Niners did not sign Ayuk, they couldn't win the Super Bowl. Ayuk is done. If they don't make a move for a good wide receiver, do you think they can't win? I do think they can't win unless they make some additions. I think they do need some help. They don't necessarily need a wide receiver per se, or they either need Pearsall and Cowing to really step up, or they could really use another wide receiver. John Dickinson joins us just here at Levi's. JD, thanks for jumping in, and appreciate you. I know you saw this game and have been here for hours and hours. Give us your takeaway on what you saw tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it's a must-needed win that the 49ers found a way to get. It didn't start off particularly well, but the offense figured it out. I thought the defense played a pretty good first half of this one, other than the one drive where the Cowboys took it down. But for the Niners to be able to, right before halftime, get it to a point where they could hang in the game and then ultimately take control of the game in the third quarter, I thought it was huge. And then, it's just more of the same. Brock Purdy, I thought, made the adjustment. They were throwing shorter as the game went on after he struggled a little bit in the first half. I mean, Garendo was huge. Ricky Pearsall had some nice catches in this one when they went to him, knowing they were going to have to get him the ball a little bit more. Diamador Lenore is a player. That was an incredible interception that he made. And look, the Niners they finished the game the way that this entire first half of the season has gone. I mean, they just cannot quite put it together for 60 minutes. And we've seen it burn them a couple of times in the Rams and Cardinals game. And man, I was having flashbacks to the Cardinals game. I mean, it felt like the Cardinals game, only worse, to the point where we're all kind of looking around in the press box. And I was asking anybody and everybody the question, like, do you have confidence that this 49ers team up 6 with the Cowboys getting the ball back the way CeeDee Lamb was running wild, that they could get a stop? Well, they found a way to get a stop and put the game away. And so, 4-4, I think overall is a nice position for them to be in, all things considered. I mean, they have not played well in the first half of this season. They could be 6-2 very easily with the Rams and Cardinals games, but I don't think it would change. It shouldn't change the conversation about how good of a team they are, how good of a team they've been. They could have been a 6-2 team, but they would be a weak 6-2 team if they were in that position. Now, you'd rather be in that spot, because if you correct some things, then you got a chance to maybe still be a number 1 seed, which is probably off the table for all intents and purposes, in the second half here. So they got to get healthy. I do think they need to look to add at the trade deadline. And, they've got to hope they can get Christian McCaffrey back and shore some things up defensively, because they are just still, game in, game out. It's fewer possessions. Like, there are possessions where the defense is dominant and looks really good, but there are also now where it used to be maybe 2 series a game where they looked really vulnerable, 1 or 2 series a game. Now it's 4 or 5, series a game where they look like a team can just go down and find a way to score on them if they have to. So long-winded way of saying nice win, but still a lot of work to do.
Let's do the rest of these, and then we'll get our game balls. Brock 408 says Skip Bayless was talking all stuff about Brock, but he changed his tone in the second half. Love it. Skip's a big Cowboy fan, so you gotta remember that. Bill Rose says, never forget how Purdy clutched up in those 2023 playoff games. His accuracy got better as the game wore on. Yeah, I mean, this guy plays for the W, man. When you play for the win, you tend to rise to the occasion. C.H. Shea says, can we keep Carlson? Love. Wait, was he?
Jordan Love got hurt today.
Oh, Jordan Love hurt his left groin. How's that related? Oh, Jordan, you talking about Jordan Mason?
I think it's 2 separate thoughts.
I think it's because Carlson was on the Packers before, maybe.
Oh, I don't know.
Association.
But Carlson, I'll say this, the Niners, it's like they can't find a kicker that can kick it through the back of the end zone, but they sure as hell can find kickers who can make field goals, huh?
Yeah, they've only missed 1 all year.
It's amazing. Bill M says,
by the way, he kicks it around. He kicks it all over the joint in the warm up. Carl, if you've watched Carlson warm up these last 2 weeks, as I have, he is erratic as hell in the pregame, but he's locked in, man. When it's been game time, maybe I don't know if he's testing some stuff out or he's trying to see. Trying to really work on where it's going, or whether he doesn't know where it's going. But the dude that we've seen in the game has not been the dude that I've seen.
It's kind of like me, in the pre-stream, I'm a circus, but once we get in the stream, I start to.
He hasn't just been kicking him, like he's been kicking him through with room to spare. Like it's not even close. Like it's right down the pipe. The only thing about Matthew Wright was like it was wobbling and it was short. Like Anders Carlson looks pretty nice.
Don't you call him Anders either, by the way. It's Anders. Anders. Bill M says, good take, Kevin. It's worth $2. Look at that. Sweet. I don't know what take it was, but Harry Johnson says, I hope Greenlaw brings the attitude back to our D. Oh, yeah. Greenlaw's a major hitter. Hopefully he'll be back soon. Andre Hanna says, can we hear from the panel everyone's end of the season record for the Niners? Where will they finish in the NFC seeding? I say 11-6 and finish third in the NFC. I'm going to say 10-7. They say 10-7. That means 3 losses the rest of the way. I'll say 10-7, and I think 10-7 might be. I think it's going to be third.
Eagles look pretty good. I kind of gave up on the Eagles, but the Eagles kind of look good. They're 5-2.
I think look good.
Packers are good. Jordan Love's injured.
Packers are probably going to be a wild card though behind Detroit.
Sure.
Well, how serious is Jordan Love injured? I don't know. Did
the Niners play the Eagles?
He went out the game and Malik Willis finished it up and actually clutched up and led him on a game-winning drive. I don't know. It looked kind of bad. I assumed it was just the ankle again, but I guess it's the groin.
What do you guys think?
Yeah, Niners will not play the Eagles this year. Dallas is their NFC East opponent.
What do you guys think for Niners record?
Let's go around with you, Larry. I'm like 10-7. I think the 3 losses probably, if I'm looking at the schedule, I'm thinking probably Green Bay, Buffalo, and Detroit would be their toughest 3. As long as they,
I think Chicago might be tough.
Chicago's tough too, but as long as they win the 3 division games they've got remaining and win 10, if they can win 6 more games and 3 of them are against their division opponents, they'll win the division.
Just get into the playoffs. Just get into the playoffs and be playing good football at the end. Frank, what do you think? How many wins?
I think 10-7, and you get an opening round home field. Opening round playoff game, but 10 wins. I think they win 6 more games.
Kev, what do you think? How many wins?
I think 9.
9.
I think they'll drop 3 more. 4. What would that be? 4 more?
Well, they're 4-4. 9.
Yeah, I don't know.
They got 9 left.
You'd have them 5-4 the rest of the way, Kev.
Yeah, no. I'll go 10 wins then. I think that they're gonna beat one of because the 3 games that I would circle if I were the Niners would be Green Bay, Buffalo, Detroit. Obviously, Chicago's gonna be tough, but I think the Niners will lose to Detroit. Detroit, at least with this current Detroit team, Detroit looks nasty, and their run game is. Right. I mean, we already everyone knows this, but
yeah,
I think that they can pull off a win against one of those 3 teams. I think they're going to pull off a win against either Green Bay, Buffalo, or Detroit, but I think they're going to lose 2.
Harry Johnson says, I missed the Gary Larry combo on KMBR. Good old days. Thank you, Harry. Appreciate that. I get that quite a bit, actually. A lot of people like G-Rad. Green glass full. Is Grant a schmuck?
Minstrel.
Rhetorical question. I got no comment on that. Bill M says talking about Kyle not playing rookie receivers. Yeah, well, I'll say this. If Kyle has a belief that he doesn't want to play rookie receivers, it's probably a pretty solid belief because rookie receivers don't do squat. Outside of Randy Moss, there aren't too many rookie receivers that have been good.
He let Pearsall get in there, though. I mean, Pearsall was a lot more involved today than I expected.
Yeah,
he didn't have a choice today, though. I mean, down Jennings and Ayuk.
Fellas, what about Keon Coleman, though? I mean, I knew he was going to be really good.
He is good.
I mean, he's second round pick. I mean, Pearsall might be better, but I knew Coleman was going to be a freak, man.
Yeah,
Coleman
he's
with Buffalo.
strong. He's so strong.
He's a basketball player.
Yeah,
Yeah,
6'4".
I like Coleman with.
yeah,
I like him.
He's good.
Buffalo.
I like Xavier Legette from Carolina, who's played at South Carolina. I like you mentioned Lad McConkey. I mean, there were a lot of good receivers.
Oh, Marvis
The only
Harrison
knock
Jr.
on Keon
was awesome today.
Well, Neighbors. How about Neighbors? I mean,
He's really
Neighbors.
good. Yeah, it's a
he
lot of good
he
ones.
plays tomorrow. The only knock on Keon was his speed, but he kind of seems like he's a Juwan type where it's like speed doesn't really matter to him. He's just a baller.
He's just so strong. I mean, he's just really, really strong.
Well, he makes combat catches. That's what Tomlin calls him. I mean, if the ball's in the air, he goes and gets it. He doesn't always catch it, but I mean, his innate ability to go and get the ball is really a basketball trait, and he has a major advantage, I think, playing football.
I bet you anything, if Keon Coleman played pickup ball, I bet you he'd be a hell of a rebounder. He's that kind of a guy. He seems like a blue collar and a hardworking guy. Kyle Bent says, went to the game tonight. The crowd energy much more consistent than the Chiefs game. Also, Ricky looked quick. Oh, yeah. Well, that's good to hear about the crowd. I didn't realize there was a difference. And we have Daddy Viper. What about trading Mason and Campbell for T. Higgins? Well, you don't see trades like that.
Yeah.
He's
another
might
guy
trade for T. Higgins, but you're not going to trade those guys.
That's another guy. I mean, Joe Burrow is not the same when he doesn't have T. Higgins and Jamar Chase.
Yeah. Crazy Babu chicken. We're not going to lose another game. Trust the chicken. Okay. There we go. Trust the chicken. And Miss 707 or Max 707 says, why has Purdy's accuracy dwindled? That's a great question. I don't know that I have an answer for that, but I think that's also a fair observation. I think his accuracy has been a little bit more spotty in the last couple of days for sure. All right, let's get out of here because
let me can I share the screen here?
Yeah.
Ryan requested that I show this, and we all have to go around the room. I mean, if you know who this is, don't say who it is. Wait, let me make sure that you can't see.
Yeah, don't say who it is if you've already seen it on Twitter.
Please don't play porn on my YouTube channel.
Okay. If you know who this is, don't say who it is. But if you have to guess who that is.
Oh my!
Dan Coachimillion.
It was a statue that was unveiled today.
I did see this
of an athlete.
Wait, don't say it, then, JD.
I won't. I will not.
Wait a second. I would say that is Tyler Rogers. No, I have no idea.
It's a little bit like Robert Saleh.
Make a guess.
It's an NBA player who just got a statue.
DeAndre Melton. No, I have
Why would they make a statue for DeAndre Melton?
No idea.
DeAnthony Melton.
DeAnthony, whatever. Get my DeAndres and my.
It's an NBA player who's a Hall of Famer.
That's an NBA player who's in a Hall of Fame.
Is that supposed to be Dikembe? Is that supposed to be Dikembe?
No, Dikembe. Have
mean,
you never seen Dikembe before?
Yeah, but I'm wondering if is it a bad rendition here or what?
This is one of the best basketball players.
Champion.
Yep,
three-time champion.
Does anybody
one of the
know?
Best players of this century.
We're asking you. We know.
Oh, you guys all know?
Yeah, we know.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys all know. Yeah. Who the hell is that? It would be nice if they had their eyes open.
Frank, you saw this, right?
I will say that.
No, I have not seen it. No.
Oh,
you know who it is, Frank?
I would say that is.
It's
doesn't look like anybody I know.
I'm not blaming you.
Larry Michaud.
Someone said Kobe.
That's I have no idea. I have no idea. Who is that? Steve Kerr?
Dwayne Wade.
It looks like Robert Saleh.
It's supposed to be Dwayne Wade.
Is that
No way.
I mean,
it's a bad rendition.
No, here's the deal. If you're Dwayne Wade, you can't fake this. I mean, you can't be like, wow, this is great.
No, the video of him, when they unveiled it, they had this whole thing where like it opened and there was like smoke. And it was it was like one of those videos. Like I remember when I saw Gordon Hayward did his like gender reveal for his twins and they were both girls. And he just couldn't fake that he was a little bit disappointed.
Right.
Is that Dwayne Wade?
The face.
This looks like Dwayne Wade's grandfather. This is crazy, man.
My goodness.
It looks nothing like Dwayne Wade.
And what's up with the color? Is it looks kind of he looks kind of blue.
Well, it's a statue.
It doesn't look like Dwayne Wade at all.
Nothing like it. Oh my
Seriously.
goodness.
This is
That's
sad.
bad.
This
That
is
is
really
bad. That is really bad.
Sorry.
All right.
Anyways,
All right. Let's last comment here before we get out of here. It's
Wayne
we're
Wade.
we're an hour and 24 minutes into our live stream, and it's
ordered it from
11:56 West Coast. So it's almost time for us to bolt for the door. JD and I have to walk to our cars. All right. Who gets your game ball? Kev, we'll start with you. And by the way, nice merch. And we should tell people we got a brand new merch store, and Kev just ordered that from our store. And it looks really, really good. So if you want to buy Krug Show merch, we're getting to that time of the season, Danny. Holiday season, maybe buy your wife something.
Yeah,
from the
I'm
Krug
sure she'd
store.
want one of the Krug sweatshirts, I think.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
Maybe a coffee mug. You have a mug?
By the way, you guys missed it, but Friday night, Dan joined me after the World Series. We had Ned Coletti on, we had Glenn Kuiper on, and great conversation about the World Series. Really fun live stream. But go ahead. Let's go around the room. We'll start with you, Kev. Who gets your game ball tonight?
Game ball is going to go to Diamador Lenore for me. There's a lot of names you give it to, but I think he's emerged as their guy. Like, he is the standout cornerback on this team. Charvarius Ward's still a great cornerback, but you're going to commit to Diamador Lenore this offseason, and you're going to make him your cornerstone cornerback. He looked amazing. He got the pick, and he's just been locked down. So I love what I'm seeing from him, especially an undersized guy that was drafted late in the draft. Just a good story and a great player.
Thomas Messina, by the way, $5. He says that is Wade Dwayne, which is that is two first names, so it could be Wade Dwayne. All right, Danny, who gets your game ball?
Oh, okay. I didn't know if it was going to come to me.
Wade Dwayne.
Yeah, I it's between two offensive players, but because it's tight end night.
Danny, could you get a little closer to the camera? I can't really see your nose hairs.
I'm going to go with Kittle. I'll go with George Kittle. I was thinking if he was taken, I was going to go Garendo, but I'll go with Kittle.
Just short and sweet. Just he had a big day. He had a big night.
Big night, huge night. I mean, he reminds me when he's running the ball of a guy on a top of a like he's trying to get bucked off the like rodeo guy, like Mason Saunders or something. He just runs like crazy. I've never seen a guy when he's totally on just run and keep his legs moving and take guys for another 5, 10, 15 yards. And Kittle was definitely on tonight. And I love the no call when they picked up the flag on the touchdown, because I don't know if you got to see that from the booth where you guys were watching, but they showed the replay a couple times. I think it was Conley. Was it Conley was the receiver? Yeah. And he was doing, it wasn't a true pick. He was running in the defensive back actually collided with Conley. And there was a couple flags that got thrown because it looked like a classic pick at first, but that was a great play. And the fact that they picked up the flag was good, but I like Kittle tonight.
I vote for Kittle. Rye, who gets your game ball?
I'm going to go Deebo Samuel because he's coming out in circumstances. They needed a big Deebo game. And they rode him early. There was missed opportunities with him. Obviously, he could have had that 60-yard touchdown. He also was wide open on that fourth down call that seemed like it was huge that Purdy threw behind him. I thought he just showed up today, and the fact that he's dealing with other injuries and he's coming fresh off pneumonia. I mean, I'm pretty sure he probably would have skipped this game if they had their full complement of weapons and if it wasn't such a big game. So I'm giving it to Deebo. He really gave him a spark today.
Good call.
Kev, Frank, who you going with?
I'm gonna go with Malik Mustafa. I think he got the memo. I think he came out in the first half and was really physical, and he's built a nice reputation as a thumper. And I think that when you want to send a message to the opposition that we're here to play, you try to exhibit your physicality. And the 49ers have a long history of hard-hitting safeties. And I don't know if and when Mufunga comes back, he's going to have a hard time getting this guy out of the lineup because he's so damn physical. And I think that's a great tone setter that he exhibited tonight. And moving forward, it just gives the defensive coordinator and the coaches a lot of confidence that he's not afraid to stick his nose in there. He plays a very physical brand of football, and I like that.
JD, who gets your game ball?
I'll go Isaac Guerendo tonight. I mean, you look at McCaffrey, obviously has been out the entire season. You look at Jordan Mason go out in the game again with this shoulder issue. And, they got the big game from Debo in the passing game. I thought maybe Debo was going to be more part of the running game, although he did get the first carry tonight. But with Mason going out, they needed Guerendo to step up and step in. And, look, when there's space and it's a well-blocked play, he's explosive and he makes things happen and he gets through the hole. And it's not just going to be a 7-yard gain. It's going to be a 20-yard gain, or it's going to be longer than that, something that has the potential to go to the house. So got that first touchdown as well. And then you look at the numbers, 14 carries, 85 yards, had 19, 15, and 14, I think back to back to back. Right when the 49ers really needed it. And then I guess it's unanimous. He did the right thing in going down there at the end of the game this time, but he already had his touchdown, so he didn't have to sweat having it be his first career touchdown like he did in Seattle. So Guerendo's my call tonight.
Yeah, I loved his game tonight.
I'm gonna go with Anders. Don't call me Anders Carlson. I mean, this is a hard thing to do. You got to walk into a brand new room, and you got a team with expectations. And you weren't their first choice, and you weren't their second choice. So it's like there's no like, hey man, they wanted you. No, you're just the guy they wound up with. And so now you got to walk into the room. There's no mandate. Today, Kyle Shanahan at the beginning of this game looked like he almost set it up for the Anders Carlson 50-yard field goal with his third down play. It was like, it seemed like he was setting it up for a Carlson 50-yarder. And I'm like, dude, is he setting this up for Carlson? And sure enough, he made it. And then he came back and he made a 44-yard field goal, and he came back and he made another 41-yard field goal. And let's be honest, guys, the guy made 3 field goals and 3 chances. He counted for 9 points. You take those 9 points away, and it's 24-21 Cowboys.
By the way, that 50-yarder, that first one, Larry, it looked like it would have been good from 58, maybe 60. That thing went through. That had a lot of room to spare.
That's my guy, Anders Carlson.
Yay for the kickers.
There you go. He was good. And you know what? Bottom line is Turpin didn't beat them. Not that, Anders necessarily did anything about that, but Turpin didn't beat them. And he made 3 field goals. So way to go, Anders. It's not an easy position to do what everybody expects you to do. And the guy came in, he's done it. So, it'd be nice. I'll say this. I mean, all these other years where you couldn't find anybody who could make a kick. Now you've got anybody you're going to is making all the kicks. It's just nobody's got a leg to kick it through the back of the end zone. So times have changed, but good for Anders. And
one good thing about having Carlson, having him right now, there's no need to bring Moody back if he's not 100%. No need to rush him back. Like give it, those high ankle sprains, if they're not 100%, easy to, maybe if you're kicking and using that as, I think it's his plant leg, right? With his left. I mean, you don't want to have him.
Never met a man. Sorry about that. Didn't mean to hit that. That is gonna do it for us, even though Danny just ended the show without
it. So that's a whole new way to cut Danny off.
There we go.
Usually I could just mute him.
That's actually just a tease for 2 weeks from now after the post-game show. Danny's going to give his...
Danny, do you have one last thought you can share with us?
I think I'm good.
Never met a man. We could do that every time. And I never get tired of it. That's how immature I really am. All right, that's going to do it for us. Everybody,
wait, can I say one thing though?
No.
I just have to say this. We
go.
did hit today on our better.
Oh, we
So,
did.
We hit.
Let's go.
So,
Look at that.
W. I forgot to mention that at the beginning. That's my bad.
So how much did we
hit
win?
$40 because
Oh, look at
Mason
that.
was forgiven. It was taken out because he got injured.
Look at that, though. Carlson, Purdy, Tolbert. We had it. We predicted it right here on the Krug Show. All
That's
right.
pretty good that they let you take. They don't count Mason against you for an injury. Usually,
That's
a
better.
lot of sites, you start the game, play one play, you're done. That's it.
Yeah, well, that's the advantage of better, Danny. You know,
Yeah,
that's why
plug it.
that's why we
Better,
get
man.
better with us. Everybody join Danny's channel. It's at NorCal Sports Network. He has stolen the California flag as his moniker. So there you go. If you see that golden bear, it doesn't stand for California. It stands for Dan Cochimilio's YouTube channel. So, Danny, good stuff. Rye, where can we catch you next? Where, if people want to keep up with what you're doing, where is the best spot to keep up with you?
Where can you locate me? You can follow me on Twitter, formerly known as Twitter.
At
West Coast Smitty.
West Coast Smitty. Frank, you have the In the Dungeon show, and that goes on Sunday nights. But tell people where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me at Big Frank Red on X, Twitter, and the likes are starting to rise a little bit. So if you check the show out and you like it, hit the like button and subscribe to the show.
Awesome.
Appreciate
and JD, when do you appear next on KMBR?
Yeah, I'm going to be on Tuesday and Wednesday night for Dubs OT. Warriors are taking on the Pelicans. They lost tonight. Steph Curry got hurt. Not a great night for the Warriors, but they're back in action at home Tuesday and Wednesday. And then I'm actually going to be in with John Lund on Thursday and Friday on the 10 to 2 slot on KMBR. So busy week of hosting Tuesday through Friday. So, yeah, look for
How did
me
my
there.
man Buddy Hield do tonight?
He had a rough night. He
1 for 9.
1 for 9. He was 1 for 9 from 3 and 3 for 14 overall.
Ouch.
What about Kuminga?
Kuminga 1 of 6 from 3.
Wiggins playing a little bit like 22 playoffs Wiggins, though.
Wiggins was really good tonight. 29 points, aggressive. He made 5 of 8 threes. He's looked good the first 3 games, I think, overall. But, yeah, he scored tonight, but they didn't get much from anybody. TJD, not his best game tonight. Only 16 minutes, though. Zubac's really got off on the Warriors. 23 points, 18 rebounds, 6 assists for Ivica.
How many boards?
Here's
did
one
TJD
question that
have?
shows that I'm paying a lot of attention to the Warriors. How did Bobby Sura do tonight?
He had 1 rebound, Smitty.
Yeah, that's a problem for another day. But TJD,
Who got one?
Trace
Wiggs?
Jackson Davis, 1
Oh,
rebound.
Yeah.
How does that happen? Is he in the starting center?
He is the starting center for now. Although I think Steve Kerr's gonna have to make some lineup changes though without Curry. I could see a couple of changes. I almost think he's gonna have to go 2 for 1. I think he's gonna have to take TJD out and obviously go with I would say maybe you go with Pajemski and Buddy with Curry out because you need to get the shooting, the playmaking, go small. You get a better Kuminga by moving Kuminga to the 4. And so don't be surprised if Warriors take if it's Pajemski and Buddy with Wiggins, Kuminga, and Draymond if Curry's going to be out at least these next couple games.
That's going to do it for us. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. Thanks to Better for sponsoring this live stream. That's going to do it for us. Tomorrow morning, I'll be on at 9 a.m. with Damon Bruce for Wake Up. You can catch me at 12:30 or in the 12 o'clock hour with Papa and Lund on KMBR. And then you can catch me in the late afternoon with Grant Cohn. And then you can catch me at 6 o'clock on KMBR for an hour of Niners Nightly. So it's a busy Monday. So that's going to do it for us. Have a great night, everybody. Go Niners. Big win. Thanks to all you guys. Thanks to JD. Thanks to Kev. Thanks to Danny. Thanks to Rye. Thanks to Red. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you next time on the Krug Show.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful, you gon' get exactly what you asked for. Careful.